Hare Krishna. So we're going to discuss a very small story, but it's a very beautiful story. A very out of the box type of story. Long ago, there was a very severe drought in the land of Bharata. The drought was so severe that it had not rained for hundreds of years. Imagine 100 years without rainfall. And so it became a very, very tough situation. And naturally, everyone at that point was very worried and very, very stressed. At that point, there was a great sage named the Gautam Rishi and his wife Ahalya. So both of them, they meditated and did tapasya to Varuna Dev, the god of the ocean and rain and water. And they had actually been on a long meditation, almost a 10,000-year-old meditation. But in the last 100 years of their meditation, they realized that the earth is in trouble and there was a lack of water. So they were situated on Brahma Parvata. That is where they were doing the tapasya. And from there itself, they began to do to austerities to please Varuna Dev, to bring the water, bring back rains. So Varuna Dev was very, very pleased with Gautam Rishi and appeared before him. And in fact, he was feeling that he was so fortunate to be able to serve Gautam Rishi. So Varuna Dev asked him, "What do you want?" And Gautam Rishi said, "Please let there be rain." At that point, Varuna Dev, he told Gautam Rishi, "Ask me anything else. This is not in my jurisdiction." Now, obviously, now the sage was very intelligent. He knew how to change the words. So he said, "Please give me a spring in the forest next to my ashram, which is a perennial spring. And no matter what, the spring will never ever die." Varuna said, "This is within my jurisdiction. I grant you a perennial spring." And Varuna disappeared. Gautam Rishi was very, very happy that at least there is some source of water now which is never going to get exhausted on earth. So now, all the disciples of Gautam Rishi, they knew this is not an ordinary spring. It is a spring that has resulted out of thousands of years of tapasya of their guru. And they began to use that water with great respect. But there were many rishis in the forests and mountains that also wanted that water, but they didn't realize that this water is because of Gautam Rishi's great austerity. And they started coming and started using that water without bothering about Gautam Rishi, without thanking him for it. So now, slowly, what happened was, everyone started coming to know about this water source, and everyone started coming to fetch water from this spring. And the interesting part was, Gautam Rishi and his disciples and Ahalya, when they would go to get water from the spring, there would be big fights. Now, Ahalya, she had to go wait for a long time to get the water. It was becoming very, very tough for Ahalya. And more than that, all the wives of all these sages that were coming there, they were harassing Ahalya like anything. And they were preventing her from coming next to the spring. And somehow Ahalya still kept quiet, tolerated everything without retaliating, without claiming that this is my spring. She just kept quiet and she continued doing her service and waiting for her turn to get water from the spring. And at some point, the women who were fetching water from this lake, from the spring, they started going and complaining to their husbands that Ahalya is harassing them. And they started concocting facts and telling all distorted things to their husbands. And believing their wives, the sages, they got into action. They did not go to verify the truth. They directly decided that Ahalya is a very bad person. And somehow they all sat together in meditation, focusing on Lord Ganesh. They wanted his help to teach their enemy a lesson. They thought Gautam Rishi and Ahalya as their enemy, and uh, and they wanted to teach them a lesson. Imagine fight for water. It's an old fight, you know. Even now, in many villages and many cities in India, there is a massive fight for water. So this is human nature. Whether you are this is sages or it is a regular human beings, this is human nature. Or for resources that are very less, there will always be fights. There will always be a sense of insecurity. So they meditated on Lord Ganesh for a long period of time. Finally, Lord Ganesh appeared. But when he heard the cause for which they had meditated and the reason for which they invoked him, he felt very bad. He was thinking that why are they thinking so bad about Gautam Rishi? And Ganesh, he appeared over there, he asked them, tell me what should I do for you all? And they said, can you please drive away Gautam Rishi from the ashram? We don't want him anywhere near us. Ganesh was shocked, he was speechless. He was thinking how to handle the sages who are requesting to hurt someone. And that too not an ordinary person, this is Gautam Rishi. How can I even think of hurting Gautam Rishi without deviating from my spiritual path? Ganesh, he was very sensitive. He had to deal with his own followers in a way that they would wake up. So, and also in a way that it would actually be a punishment to them. So, what Ganesh did was he transformed himself into an old and weak cow. And he went to the field of Gautam Rishi. And this cow appeared to be eating all the crops in the field. Now Gautam Rishi saw that cow and he ran to the field to drive away the cow. And to drive the cow away, he used a small piece of grass. He didn't use a stick or a whip or anything like that, or even his hand. He used a small piece of grass. And the small piece of grass, it's not a weapon, it's not any kind of a harmful thing. He just touched the cow to shoo the cow away. And as soon as the cow was touched by Gautam Rishi, the cow collapsed and died. Gautam Rishi was so shocked and so alarmed, so disturbed that just by a mere touch of a grass, the cow died. And he knew that killing a cow was a grave sin in the scriptures. And then all the other sages gathered over there and they needed some opportunity to make shame of Gautam Rishi, make fun of Gautam Rishi. Ashamed and embarrassed, Gautam Rishi left from the ashram and he thought he will do further tapasya to overcome the sin of Go Hatyana. All the sages suggested that he should circumambulate the Brahma Parvat 100 times and purify by bathing in 100 sacred waters. The sage, he decided, I'll do whatever you all say. And he prayed to Lord Shiva very intensely to once and for all remove the water shortage for the benefit of all. And he prayed, if only the Ganga flows from his head to the ashram, it will solve all problems. Lord Shiva was very happy to execute the sage's advice. And Lord Shiva was so pleased that in spite of these people doing so bad to him, he's still thinking of welfare of everybody. He's still thinking of welfare of the world. Lord Shiva released the sacred Ganga from his head. And the Ganga just cascaded into the ashram of Gautam Rishi. And so now Ganga actually did not want to leave Kailash, leave Lord Shiva's association. So she requested, along with him and Parvati, they should stay with her. And Lord Shiva, he was very happy to stay along with Mother Ganga, and he took the form of the 8th Jyotirlinga, which is known as Trayambaka. So Trayambaka was established because Ganga did not want to leave the association of Lord Shiva. Of course, on the way, Ganga, she would have drowned and destroyed all the ashrams in the vicinity of the ashram of sage Gautam and Ahalya's ashram. But Gautam asked Ganga to forgive all of them and forgive all the offenses that the sages have done. And he said, don't touch any of the ashrams, don't destroy any of the ashrams, and forgive them. The sages, when they saw Gautam Rishi's compassion, in spite of all the pain that they caused him, the sages felt very, very bad. And they decided to do exactly what they had told him to do. They went around Brahma Parvat 100 times and they went to 100 sacred rivers, holy places to have a bath. And that way, Lord Ganesh, he did not disappoint the sages. And at the same time, he helped them overcome their mistake. And that is how Gautam Rishi and Ahalya, they had this perennial source of water continuing. But along with that, they also ensured that Ganga comes into this world so that the entire world gets benefit of Ganga. Gautam Rishi is a great sage and he is considered to be one of the Saptarishis. And he's teaching us a very important lesson in this particular story. The lesson that even if there are people who are thinking bad for us, even if there are people that are doing bad to us, even if there are people who are lying, cheating, doing all kinds of bad things to us, we must always think of their benefit. We must always think of what we can do to do good to them. If we also become like them, what is the difference between us and them? Sages like Gautam Rishi and Mother Ahalya, they do not transform their character according to the people that they meet. They remain who they are. And in fact, they elevate others to reach to their level rather than degrade to that level at which the others are. Most of us, when somebody harms us, somebody hurts us, somebody disturbs us, we get so disturbed and we get so bewildered that we stoop down to their level and become like them. And we think that I want to harm that person who has harmed me. But here, Gautam Rishi is showing us what is the ideal way to act. When others harm us, do more good to them. He first did good and people started harming him. And instead of doing bad, he did more good to them. And people got so bewildered, so confused. How can some person do more good when we're doing a bad to them? That is when they realize that the purpose of life is not to win. The purpose of life is to win hearts. Instead of just thinking of I want to win against somebody else, I want to win an argument, I want to win a fight, I want to win some money or whatever. Instead of thinking I want to win, you should start thinking how can I win hearts? And that way, Gautam Rishi, by his character and by his consciousness, he pleased Lord Ganesh, he pleased Lord Shiva, he pleased Mother Ganga, and eventually he pleased all the sages also who were disturbed by him and who were so animus to him. That way, Gautam Rishi is teaching us some very valuable lessons, and no wonder he's one of the great sages that we can all look forward to, look up to, and learn from. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Today evening we're having the Applied Bhagavatam class, and I can assure you today's session is going to be one of the most powerful sessions you would have heard. It is going to teach us how to develop relationships between ourselves, with other people, as well as with Krishna. There are 3 chapters of the Srimad Bhagavatam that we'll be covering today, and it's going to be a very profound session. Please do join in. Those who are from Mumbai, please join in physically and be present there. It will be much, much more impactful when you're physically present. And those who are in other places, please do join online. And I'll see you all today evening. Hare Krishna.